Greetings folks, this is Woody from Obadiah's. You're looking at a Trinity NTI boiler. So what do you do when it's 1 o'clock in the morning and your boiler sprung a leak? Came up here and looked at it. Water was coming out of the base of the boiler. First suspect would be this drain down here. That drain has a trap and a ball, and it drains into my sewer system, which is my septic tank. So that was the first thing I did, was clean that. It was still leaking. So then the next thing I started looking at was where that water comes from. That water is coming from the bottom of my heat exchanger, which is this coil thing that's inside of here. You can't see it, but there's a tube. So the next thing I suspected was this drain, and you can see behind this pipe, well, I put this piece of hose in because this was turning black from the temperature. Eventually it's going to fail. So something you may want to consider to do. Same thing here. It actually rubs on the heat exchanger in this corner when it's in place, which eventually could rub a hole in it. Mine did not have a hole, so I'm putting the hose over it to prevent that from happening. But something else you would want to look at. But on my particular boiler, what it ended up being was one of these gaskets. And as you can see, it's kind of smushed pretty bad. These are the gaskets that were still intact, and they fit up in here, in between the top of that right there and this here. I need to replace that, so I took this out. This is a fin plate heat exchanger. I took it out and we boiled it in vinegar, white vinegar. You want to make sure your inside of your heat exchanger is clean. So if you have scale and stuff, funky water, it'll build up in this heat exchanger because of the way it's positioned. All the sediment will be trapped in it. It's kind of set up just like a trap. It's not real good, but it is what it is. Fortunately, I have excellent water, so it's not an issue. If you don't have good water, it could be a problem. So I'm getting ready to put it back in place. What I did was, I didn't have those particular gaskets, but I did have some O-rings, and these are regular industrial O-rings, and I am replacing those gaskets with O-rings. And then I put some pipe dope on the threads. You could use Teflon if you don't have pipe dope. And now I'm fixing to put it all back together. The problem with this particular design is getting to this. And where I sprung the leak was on this back fitting here, which is very hard to get to. So in order to open all this up, I had to take some things apart, which is this part of this tubing, which is the fresh air induction system, which goes into this turbine air motor deal that blows the air up. So I had to remove that. Had to remove my gas line, and once I got everything apart, I was able to get in here. So you want to be careful when you take these tubes apart. Don't break off your edges. These Things are plastic, so if it doesn't want to come apart, just cut it off and then slit it with a razor knife. So you got to be careful. Things get brittle when they get old. So thought I'd show you how to do this. I can't put it back together and hold the video camera at the same time, so I'm just going to go ahead and put everything back together, but I thought I'd show you a few tips that I did do and the improvements. Like again, you can see the hose that is put in over the top of the hose behind it, just as a shield, so it doesn't wear a hole in the future. And then the other shielding I put in up here, put the O-rings in, put it back together. That should stop the leak, and hopefully it will, and then we'll know tomorrow. So anyhow, this is Woody. I thought I'd share this with you. Have a good evening. Bye.